Part of becoming proficient with secure coding is to be able to use secure coding terms. Vulnerabilities refer to any weaknesses that could be exploited by an attacker. Defects refer to any software vulnerabilities, including design vulnerabilities and implementation vulnerabilities. The term defects is probably the most comprehensive term to refer to software vulnerabilities, and it refers to software vulnerabilities in general. In particular, bugs refer to simple implementation errors. For example, using a function call when you're programming, vulnerable to a particular attack. Flaws refer to something deeper than bugs and usually involve design mistakes. For example, if there are too many access points to your system, something like that is not a simple programming error, but something more fundamental in your design. Risk is the probability that these bugs and flaws will actually impact the mission of the software. It has another aspect in addition to the probability aspect, which is also a consequence. So risk also refers to the consequences in terms of the potential damage a bug or flaw could cause in the software. There are three ultimate security goals sought by software security. The first one is confidentiality, and confidentiality is ensuring computing resources, raw data or processed information accessible only to the authorized users. Integrity is next, and integrity is also making sure computing resources, data information, modifiable or removable only by the authorized users. Finally, there's availability, and availability is ensuring computing resources, data information accessible only when needed by the authorized users. So this is what we're trying to do when we're trying to ensure software security. An exploit is a program that takes advantage of software vulnerabilities. For example, there is a program called Metasploit that allows people to build their own customized program to attack software programs with vulnerabilities. A countermeasure is what prevents a threat agent from taking advantage of a vulnerability or vulnerabilities through an exploit. Countermeasures are the same as controls, safeguards, or protections. Some of the examples of the countermeasures include things such as access control mechanisms or patches to the existing vulnerabilities. Access control is what limits the use of resources, data, or information. There are three critical elements of access control called triple A's of access control. The first one is authentication, and authentication refers to the verification of an identity. When somebody claims that he or she is so and so by providing an identity, authentication is what verifies that identity and checks whether that identity is false or authentic. Authorization refers to the assignment of appropriate permissions once authentication is done, based on the identity of the user. Accounting is monitoring or logging the activities of the user once the user is given access to resources, data, or information. The main mechanisms of accounting is, as you can see here, logging and monitoring. A threat agent is anything that can harm the system. For example, there are threat agents that are intentional, meaning malicious users or attackers trying to compromise the security controls of a system. The threat agent could be also accidental in a sense that a user making a mistake by accident and causing harm to the system. A threat agent can also be a natural disaster such as fire, flood, and earthquakes. A trust boundary defines what is under your direct control in terms of security or not. You shouldn't be trusting anything outside your trust boundary. So it is a good way of discriminating your assets based on whether you can trust it or not. Here is a question to test your understanding so far. Which of the following refers to the implementation level software vulnerabilities? A. Defect, B. Bug, C. Flaw, and D. Risk. The answer is bug, B, because bugs refer to the implementation level vulnerabilities, as we discussed earlier. That's it. That's all for secure coding terminology. Now, the next topic is secure coding principles.